Welcome to the ModeCast. We got buddy Korey here, McMurphy, and J. Raj.
I'm always here.
We want to bring Korey on and talk about the bar. He owned a bar off of El Cajon Street, McMurphy's.
El Cajon Boulevard.
What did I just say?
Street. Get it correct.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
He gets mad at me because I constantly correct people all the time.
How long did you own the bar for?
7 years.
Were you pretty excited when you sold it?
Yeah, because I wasn't, I'd sleep like 3 hours a night working at Kaiser, and you know what I mean? So it was definitely a big relief when I sold it.
Were you making money off of it?
Yeah, towards the end when I was kind of over it, I have other investments and stuff. So towards the end, man, I would open at like 8 p.m. and, I was kind of just short timing it, you know what I mean? So towards the end, it was like just to make sure, I didn't lose money. But yeah, so it was cool. But
it sucks because I think it's every guy's dream to open a bar, especially ones that drink.
Yeah,
I can't tell you how many times I've talked about it with buddies. Like, I want to open a bar so bad, but owning a bar isn't as glorious as it sounds.
Yeah, of course, with anything, there's pros and cons. There's a lot of good times, but behind the scenes, like even there's things that you wouldn't think about just all the time in the day when deliveries, the lines being cleaned, whatever cleanup and stuff like that you kind of don't think too much about when you're just drinking and wanting to own a bar.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty much like everyone. When you have a business, you're married to it. So. Yeah.
Did you ever get to a point where you wanted to quit Kaiser? Like where you felt like you were making enough money to quit Kaiser?
I knew something had to give, and now I've been at Kaiser for a little over 18 years. So I started when I was 18 years old, and I think I would, if I quit Kaiser, I would regret that more possibly in the future rather than if I sold the bar. So, but I knew something had to give for sure because, it was just work. Some days I'd literally wake up at 6 a.m., go to Kaiser, get off, go straight to the bar, stay there till, we close at 2, get out of there at 3, go home, just power nap for like 3 hours, boom, go straight back to Kaiser. So I'd literally sleep for 3 hours and then work 21 straight. You know what I mean? And when you do that back-to-back days, you just...
Fucking with your health at that point.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes my brain would be fuzzy and... Yeah, when your head feels all fuzzy, you're like, man. So I'd live off, like, energy drinks a lot. Sometimes, at the bar, I'd drink 2 in a night, and, that's not that healthy. So, yeah.
Shit, when I got divorced, I got a second job. I was working pretty much the same thing, like 20 hours a day, and 3 to 4 energy drinks a day.
Yeah, no fun, huh? You're like,
it sucks. I remember when I'd go to your bar and shit, you talk about working out. I have no idea how you stayed working out with that schedule.
I'd pick up just randomly. It seems like when you're just in go mode and you just know, like, all right, I have this little bit of time to do something, go bust out a quick workout. But I would never hit it, like, as consistently as I'd like because there were so many things, with the schedule that would come up.
The guy with the beard would come in for a few hours, right?
Toby?
Just so you can go...
Yeah.
Go hit up the gym real quick.
Yeah. Sometimes just get a little break and get out of there. And, my brother and my sister at the time, they'd work a couple days a week just so I could, get a little break. But, it's tough. Like, I'm that type. If you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. So I tried, letting, like, Toby do it and work the bar. And just a lot of times you find out that
it's not getting
they aren't, who you thought they would be. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
just more make it like party time instead of work. So then I start hearing things about stuff that he's doing, and I'm like, dang, you know. So did mess up our friendship for a little bit just because I thought I could trust him more.
Yeah.
So fuck you, Toby, if you're listening. Nah, I'm just kidding. Nah, we're cool now. We talk, you know, I squashed it.
How does that work when you start a business? Do you have to go to the bank with a business proposal letter? That's what I read online. I don't know if I'm correct or.
I tried that because I had heard that too. But with so many businesses failing, like, to get a loan, you know, from the bank for a business, they want to see, it's like you already have to be in business and show them your financial records, and you know what I mean? You can't just get the idea and go in and be like, hey, you know, because I thought the same thing. I was like, a bar, you know, of course, what's up? Let me get a loan, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't
Guaranteed
work like
to make
that.
money.
I know, you would think. I thought, you know, that's a no-brainer, but yeah, it didn't work like that. So you'd have to get, you know, the money, maybe some, depend on the business, like could be partially owner finance, you know, if you just depends on the situation of what business and.
How'd you go about it? You had someone backing you, or?
No, I just pretty much scrounged up the money and just because it was just a beer and wine bar, so
Yeah.
I got it for $130,000. Not too bad. The guys I bought it from, they had it only for a year and a half, and they had paid like $170, you know, a year and a half prior, and they were never there. So after hearing stories, you know what I mean, the main dude that was bartending would just be giving, you know, beer away in exchange for a fat tip, you know. So the owners are losing their butt because they got to pay this dude full-time salary and, you know, his wages, and they're losing money on beer, you know, when he's giving it away. So there's no way you could come out ahead when that's happening.
Dude, Jay and I talk about that so many times. A lot, like, you know, obviously a lot of guys like going to dive bars because you feel you get the hookup, you know, especially on, like, mixed drinks. I can't tell you how many bars we went to where it's, you know, 3/4 alcohol on the splash because those bartenders know that, you know, you're watching them pour the drink and you're going to get a fat tip out of this.
Yeah.
That's what sucks. Like you said, you got to be there.
Yeah, I know. That's how it turned out. You know, like Bud Light, I know, man, that was the thing. When I first bought the bar in 2007, a keg of Bud Light, Bud, Coors Light, all the domestics were like $79 a keg. And then just slowly, constantly going up. I think when I sold it, it was probably at like 99, you know, so it went up a good $20.
Damn.
You know, and the cost of, you know, Bud Light's probably, I think it was about 75 cents for a pint. And, you know, so as long as you, like if friends came in, sometimes as long as you don't lose money, you know, then, like you could slide them some, but yeah.
It adds up quick, though, when you try to do the hookup all the time.
Yeah. And then, you know, and that's the thing. Sometimes when you're slow, it's like your busy hours, you know, the profit helps make up for the slow hours. But if you're giving stuff away, you know, you can't really win, you know.
I was heard the rumor that bars pay extra money for kegs because they're pre-taxed.
Yeah. They don't tax you. They include, you know, you buy the keg and there's always the $30 keg deposit because they don't want to keep track of who has X amount of kegs. So when they deliver, you pay $30 extra per keg, and then when you return the empty one, the shells, then they credit you back $30. So delivery driver comes. Say he's bringing you 10 kegs. I might have 9 empties from the previous delivery that, you know, I got to shoot them back to him, and then they credit the $30 each.
Did you have
yeah, that is true.
Did you have someone kind of give you, I don't know, advice on how to start running the business? I mean, do you have any tips? Just what we did?
No, not at all. I had never worked at a bar. I'm not even really a big drinker, but I knew I've always been business minded, and I knew I wanted to, you know, own a business. And I was working at Kaiser, and someone was leaving out the classifieds each night because I work graveyard. And so the evening shift, you know, same person kept leaving out the classifieds. So, you know, I was looking for another Rottweiler at the time, and so I grabbed the paper, started looking at it, noticed the section businesses for sale. So first couple days there was nothing in there, and then finally there was one that said, bar/pub in the SDSU area, and I was like, what? So I got the address and drove by it, and it was like 2 blocks away from my house, but it looked scummy, so I was like, nah. But then the next night I had told my girlfriend at the time, I was like, let's go in and check it out. And so we stopped by, went and checked it out, saw the potential that I thought I'd be like, oh, I'd do this and this and this, and then called the guys and ended up working that deal. At the time, I almost wanted, I was like, I didn't know the, cost of, I almost wanted to throw out like, oh, they didn't want to give me a price. They're like, oh, well, we just want to see what you think it's worth. And I almost said like 200 grand. I'm glad I didn't. But so I just, I bit my tongue on that one, which was good. So never throw some random price out there. Just let them sit on it. But I guess I'm sure they were losing money. So they said they would take like a 10 to 20% loss. And then they said so there's 2 owners. The one dude, he didn't want to like tell me any information about how much they paid or anything. I tried to ask them how much they paid. They didn't want to tell me. But then the other guy on the side, he's like, hey, email me and, and we'll do it. Like, I think he wanted to get out more than his partner. You know what I mean? So he had shot me an email, or I had shot him an email, and, he's like, yeah, we'll take a 10 to 20% loss. So, and I was like, and we paid $170, and I was like, well, that's not bad. I'm glad I didn't say 200, And then so I was like, offered him 130, and he's like, oh, you're, shooting for the low end, right? I'm like, anyone would, right? So I'm like, yeah. And then so he said he talked to his partner, and so they accepted it. So I was like, right on.
For 130?
Yeah.
What was your mortgage, you don't mind me asking?
It was awesome. I think it started at $1,390 for the rent, because usually business, one lady owns the whole strip there on El Cajon Boulevard. So, and she was real cool. So she kept it, man, she was supposed to go up like 5% each year, but, I was just writing the check the same each month, year after year, if she wasn't going to say anything. So it was $1,390 for a few years, and then one time she bumped it up. But she knew. She said, I haven't bumped it up at all like I'm supposed to. She was real cool. But I did a lot of improvements too that I think she was stoked on, because it's her building, Yeah. So it improves the value of everything. So, yeah, it wasn't bad. And the rent, that could be a make or break you, too. If you're down in some pricey area like PV or downtown, that could definitely make or break you. So, as long as, $1,390, I was like, man, I could, worst case scenario, I could just pay that out of my own pocket from, working at Kaiser. And so, yeah.
Now, with a situation like that where you are taking over a business that's in, a building that the business owner doesn't own. Like, how does that? What are you buying exactly? Just the name, or
you're buying?
That was my next question.
Yeah, you're buying whatever's in there.
Yeah.
If sometimes they could. I know when I sold it, I took all my beer, a lot of beer neons and stuff. But you're buying the opportunity to do business there, because you know what I mean. If it's a nice location, you can't just, unless it's just sitting there. With a business went out and it's just sitting there. But for most time, if it's an existing business, yeah, you're buying the opportunity to do business there. Sometimes if you're going to keep it the same name, they've built their little clientele, so you're kind of getting that too. But in my case, I wanted to totally just close it down, change the name, make the changes that I wanted to make, and then open up and just start from the bottom. So,
was it hard to change the name, or just file another fictitious business name?
Yeah, no, it was real easy. Real easy to change the name. You just file for it as the DBA, and with the state.
Dude, I was so bummed. I went there 2.5 years ago, because I didn't go in there for a while because Jazz got pregnant.
Yeah.
And I go and I'm like, ugly dog, what the fuck? And I went in there and I was like, hey, where's Korey? And he was like, oh, he sold the bar. I was like, what the fuck? And I left. He's like, you're not going to have a beer? I was like, no, sorry, man. So I walked out. And that was when I hit you up on Facebook.
Oh,
hey,
yeah,
you sold
yeah.
the bar? You're like, yeah, man, I had to get out of there.
I know. He wanted to keep it McMurphy's, but I'm like, man, that's my last name. Like, you know, I don't know what's going to happen with it. I don't want to be be repping my last name, you know? So I was like, nah, that's the deal in it. You cannot keep the name. You got to change it. So.
It was kind of cool. They kept the free pool.
Yeah, I told them to, but they didn't. I guess he didn't want to keep like domestic beers like Bud Light and stuff. He's really not, you know, wasn't too interested in catering to the college clientele. Kind of want to make it more like, you know, the North Park style, yeah, like craft beer. So,
all that craft beer is awesome, but you got to have something for everybody.
What's that?
So the craft beer is awesome, but you got to have something for everybody.
Yeah. No, it's
the craft bars I used to go. The craft beer bars I used to go to were like North Park, or there's one in El Cajon that I like.
Oh yeah.
That they kept their domestics in bottles.
Which one in El Cajon?
Main Tap.
Yeah, that's the one. It's just past the courthouse on the. Is it?
It's west of the courthouse on Main Street.
Yeah,
it's like right in the middle of that.
On the same side of the courthouse, though, right? And it had like a rock, like front to it. Yeah, I was gonna buy that one. Yeah, actually, I was down at the ABC, the Alcoholic Beverage Control, downtown, and the guy who owned it, but I forget what the name was in '07. But he was there, and he was interested in selling it. He's like, no, you know, and he heard I was buying a bar. So he was trying to persuade me, and it was actually a pretty good deal. He had the hard alcohol, you know. Yeah. So, and he was talking like $250,000 for it. And so I met with him at, forget off like Arrow Drive. He had an office building or something. He was an old dude, so, you know, he probably had some money. But he owned all the buildings there. So his daughter or someone, she was like kind of tripping on him that when she found out it was $250,000 that he was trying to sell it for. So he asked if I could go out while he talked to his daughter, and I just felt kind of like, oh man, if he owns the building, like, you know, you could be kind of stuck at his mercy with the price of the rent, and you know what I mean. So I just I didn't want to jump on that. I'm just kind of stuck with what I had. So. And I was like, El Cajon, you know, seems kind of dicey. I don't know about that area. I know the SDSU area, you know, it's right by my house, so can't really go wrong with that.
You know what's cool about you, though, is you had a rare personality trait where, like, everyone that went to that bar went there to talk to you. Like, there was days when I went in there and you weren't there, but all right, like, I'd turn around. Remember, I'd go in there and be like, oh, yeah, you weren't here the other day.
Oh, like yeah. Well, I appreciate that.
That's everybody. That's my chick. When we'd be in there and people would come in, like we decided to stay for a beer, people would come in, see you weren't there, they're like, boop, turn back out. So
and that's, you know, I would hear things, you know, sometimes Toby, like I'd have to talk to him because he would just be sitting there with his head down like he's all bummed out. You know what I mean? I'm like, bro, if you're sitting there all bummed out, you know, it's kind of a weird vibe, you know what I mean?
Well, and as tired as you were, you're always like pretty hopped up, like bouncing around talking to everybody, and it was a cool atmosphere.
Totally, yeah. No, that part was fun for sure. Like talking with people, I think mainly it was just the lack of sleep that was getting me. Because like when you guys would come in, you know, that 5% of the time was cool, you know. But there's other dead nights that you're just sitting there like, man, you know, sucks. But you got to stay open just to keep. You know, you don't want someone showing up. Like, when I was first buying the bar, twice, like, one was, like, 10 o'clock on a Monday, and me and a buddy, we were out, and we were like, yeah, let's go stop by the bar and just check it out. And we cruise over, and it was closed, and we're like, what? 10 o'clock on a Monday, you know? Then there was another time, I forget which day it was, but we had went and stopped by, and it was still pretty early, and maybe that time it was like midnight, and they were closed, and I was like, man, see, I wouldn't, you got to be consistent with your hours. There was some people that would drive from Chula Vista to come to the bar. Like, just to come drink at the bar from Chula Vista. I'm like, dang. So things like that, they have to know that you're for sure going to be open, because give it one or two times, you know, you drive over there and you're closed, you know, then that's kind of a bummer. Towards the end, when I was short timing it, and especially when it was already sold, there were some nights, you know, where you're just like, if it's and then I understood Monday nights are, you'd think because of football and stuff, but still, it's just kind of a slow night in general. So I'd be sitting there, and I could understand why the people would split. But the bartender, you know, they would split, and the owners didn't even know about it because they were never there. So that was also part of their downfall, you know what I mean? Not being consistent with the hours, but they're paying them, the employees, for working those hours, and they don't even know they're closed. So that's why it's, you know, if you're the owner, you definitely, I would say the best kind of business is an internet business where you don't have to be there all the time. You know, you could be doing whatever you want, your sales, you know, be at home, be online. It's easier to be at home, be on the computer, rather than be at a physical location all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like those kind of like, I don't know. I think I've had enough experiences going into business and people always doing those side hookups for like me and stuff. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't trust having, like, being at home more often than being at, you know, my place of business.
Yeah. Yeah, and there was this, towards the end, I also had this one dude, Tony, work, and I had went in for a delivery. One of the beer delivery drivers called me, because they call you, you know, and like, hey, you know, what time's good? So just shoot over and meet him. But so he calls me, and we meet up, say it's like noon or something, and I let this other guy work the night before, and he closed the bar, and like I was kind of short timing it, so I didn't go in to check up, you know, say you're tired at 2 a.m, you don't feel like driving to go check on things, you know. So the delivery driver tells me, he's all, yeah. He's like, I drove by at 6 a.m. and your door was wide open. So I stopped thinking I could, you know, just do your delivery real quick. And I walked in, and I'm yelling like, hello. And he's like, and there was no one in there. I'm like, no way. And he's like, yeah, man, I swear. I walked in. He's like, I even went in the back patio. Everything was open, and no one was here. I'm all, fuck. So I talked to the guy that worked the night before. I'm like, bro, what are you doing there still at 6 a.m? Because he said he ran over to AM PM real quick. And you left the door, like, he didn't have a key, so, you know, that's why he left it open. But you still should, like, crack it, you know what I mean? Maybe put something, in the
open
door. Yeah. So I'm like, damn, and that was just another... Man, if you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself. Like, and anyone could have walked in. You know, there's money and stuff in there.
Your sister was like you, though. Your sister was there. That was like the only time me and Jazz would stay, because she was fun to talk with.
Yeah, she's.
I never seen your brother in there working. I went in there, I think, on Super Bowl, and then your brother was there drinking with your family. But
oh yeah, he worked like Tuesdays and Thursdays. Just he does construction in the day, so he'd get there from like 4 to 8 or 4 to 9. So just like, you know, twice a week. Yeah. So a lot of times when you came in, it was after 8 or 9. You know, even if it was a Tuesday or Thursday. But yeah, it was cool. Like family you could trust, because, you know, they have your best interest, and, you know, they're at least social, you know, not like old negative Nancy Toby with his head down. And I'm like,
Well, that guy, he kind of had an intimidating look to him. He's always serious. I never gave him the time of day to talk to him. Not that he wasn't cool, because when you were in there, I had a few conversations with him. Just like I said, you gotta have that personality when you own a bar, because that's what you come back for. You want to kind of Well, and then when you know the owner hand in hand, like I did with you, I wanted to go and support your business.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate it.
Can you go into some detail about the business license? Or not business license, the alcohol license, the hard alcohol?
So that you have to. Could be, you know, different prices. Some people say it's like $100,000, but when I was looking, you know, they ranged from like 50,000 to 80. Maybe I think there was a couple, you know, different time periods that were maybe 100. But the main thing is getting approved for it. Trying to move that license to your location. It's not always going to work. Like, say PV, they only have X amount of the hard alcohol license allowed for that area, because, you know, but some are like grandfathered. If it's already there, then it's cool, but it's hard to get new ones over there in that area. So I thought I'd be able to get one over at, you know, San Diego State area, but then again, you know, in the end I just didn't follow through with everything I had wanted to do. Yeah. Because I did want to do that. But then also, that's going to create so many more problems. Sometimes a dude would come in like total douchebag, like someone just seemed angry. He's like, let me get a shot. And I'm like, and those ones I was happy. Oh man, we don't serve hard alcohol here. Like, get the fuck out. Because it just they had versus a beer drinker. I'm not saying all, because of course there's some cool hard alcohol drinkers, but from what I saw, speaking from my experience, not just assuming or what, a lot of them just were real like downers and. Whatever they were going through, everything, everyone goes through different things in life. But, yeah, they just seemed like type of person I didn't want in there anyway. So then that would create, on busy nights, that would, of course, create more fights. And you'd have to have more, bouncers. And a lot of times I would just be there myself and do it all. The door, or like when people walk in, just you got to be real firm. And that was one thing that I think before I bought the bar, a lot of times it was hard for me to even just say no to someone. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, it was hard. But with owning a bar, you have to get, that thick skin real quick because there's, when you're growing up, when you're a kid, you generally think that as people age, they get more mature and you know what I mean? Like that's a general assumption, I would say. But there's 50, 60-year-old guys that you got to treat like they're 5. Like, I swear. And I'm sitting there like, wow, I am acting like I'm 30 years old and I have to act like this 60-year-old guy's dad and just tell him, what he needs to do, what, he's out of line and how to talk to people. I'm like, how does that work? So, but yeah.
And you want him to come back, you're trying to be cool at the same time.
Oh man, there was one weird guy. He was this old guy and he would make little like gay innuendos, like saying, oh, if I could tie you up and put you in my van naked. And I was like, this motherfucker's weird.
It's more than a sexual innuendo. It's sexual innuendo.
Yeah. Innuendo.
Can I say that right? Oh my god.
So yeah, and he was really weird. So and sometimes, he kind of, we became cool. Sometimes if it was slow and he's the only one in there,
you let him tie you up.
Talk with him, like as long as he didn't say weird shit like that. But like then other people would come in and he would sit there and if someone was having a good time or something, he would just say out loud, like talk shit to him, like not look at, well, actually, yeah, some he'd look over and would say like really mean stuff to him. And I'd have to tell him, I'm like, whoa, bro, you can't talk to people like that. And one time I was real firm with him when he totally offended someone, just be like, he'd get a little buzz and, tell him to shut the fuck up or something. I'm like, whoa, I'm like, bro, you can't do that. Like, and so I think he got his feelings hurt a little bit. So I didn't see him for months because he got his feelings hurt, feelings hurt from me. And I'm like, well, you can't have this one weirdo driving away business, So I'm like, that's how it is. If he's going to be weird, he could roll out. And there was this one guy that I kind of had to go off on him like early on when I first kind of started to get that thick skin. I was so tired from working at Kaiser, and this guy, I would watch him, and he was an older guy, and he'd check out like these younger dudes that if they're over there playing pool, because I'm sober and I'm just like observing, and he would go over and just stand near the guys, and then he'd kind of get in a little bit closer and start trying to get in their conversation. And so I thought he was probably gay, just being all weird like that. And so, yeah, one time I had to yell at him because he didn't want to pay his bill. That's another thing. Sometimes you would never think, but they like, he's like, oh, yeah, I get 2 Guinnesses for these guys over here. So we did. And the girl at the time that poured him, he wouldn't pay her. He would just like ignore her. So I went over to him. She's like, Korey, he's not paying his bill. I poured 2 Guinnesses, for these dudes. And he's just ignoring me. So I went over. I was like, hey, bro, you got to pay for those. And he's like, oh, yeah, and just shut me off. I was like, no, you get over there right now and pay for them. And he, said something like rude. And I'm like, get the fuck over there and pay your fucking bill. Like, I just kind of lost it, but I didn't really care because the guy was a weirdo anyway, And so he was like, I was in his face, and the girl said, like, you know, my veins in my neck were popping out. She was like, I never seen you that mad. And I was like, he's like, I will never come here again. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, get the fuck out of here then. Yeah, I think that was probably the lack of sleep talking.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, but those regulars, though, I feel like can make you lose business.
Yeah, I mean, they can. Yeah, definitely if they're weird, but if they're the cool ones, you know, it makes it a cool environment. But yeah, you definitely see a lot of different people.
The weirdo regulars.
Yeah.
You had a cool little setup out back to all the beer pong tables and everything.
Yeah.
That's something I've never seen at a bar still.
I know. When I first found out we could do that, I called the ABC because I had that idea. And I was like, man, that'd be cool to play beer pong at a bar, you know? But the few that they said, I can't make money I can't organize it myself and make money off of it. You know what I mean? So I had a buddy, you know, I told him that, and then he ended up making a little beer pong league and organization, and it was called beerpongleagues.com. And so they would come in, set it up, and he's good on the computer and, you know, would blast it, and we'd have a good turnout and stuff. So yeah, I could sell the beer and everything, but he would have to organize it and, you know, that side of it. Yeah.
Did he make some money off of it?
Yeah, it was cool, especially on a slow night. Like, you know, you get 30 people in there playing beer pong on a league, and yeah, it was pretty cool.
It's a lot of beer. Beer pong goes fast.
Yeah, I know. And so yeah, that was a cool time. That was in the beginning. It was cool. So,
with the college area, because we had a friend that had a hookah bar over by Effins.
Yeah.
And he had a problem with the college crowd because he dealt with all the 18-year-olds since he was hookah bar. And
yeah.
So everybody that couldn't get into the bar would go there. Did you have a huge problem with the college assholes, like fights? And it always seemed to me that I always avoided the college area to go out drinking because of the college kids.
Yeah. So a lot of the college area you would think would be just popping, you know, like all the time thinking, but a lot of them are under 21, and, you know, the area used to be busy just like house parties and stuff, but then they started regulating it, and if you have a house party and the police come out, then every roommate could be fined $1,000.
Yeah.
So that really, you know, cut a lot of the house partying out. One guy that would come into the bar said he lived over on Montezuma, and the police came out when they had a party. They had 8 roommates.
Oh my God.
So every roommate gets $1,000 fine. So they all got hit with the fine, but he went to court, and, you know, the judge reduced it. I don't know. I forget what price they reduced it to, but that definitely cuts out partying, a lot of partying in the college area. So anyway, I guess my point is you think it would be more busy, but I think a lot of it's, you know, 21 and under, or under 21, I mean.
Causing the problems.
Yeah, or just not coming into bars. They're trying to drink it, you know, house.
Yeah.
I really didn't have too many problems. I did choke like a couple people out, you know, myself. This dude, it was because one thing I was real strict with was checking IDs for sure. And you could, you know, it's routine when you see someone walk in and they kind of go off in the cut real quick, you know, dip by the pool tables, and, you know, you're like, hey, let me get your ID. And so a lot of them, you know, those are the people trying to sneak in, or, you know, passing by. I'd have to get real loud. That was another thing. You just got to be, you know, raise your voice so they hear you and be real firm. And, you know, because a lot of times there's this one black dude one time, he comes in and I guess he just got out of jail or something, and not stereotyping. So he was telling us he just got out of jail. I was like, well, I need to see your ID. And so and Toby was with me at the time, and shows me his ID, and the ID was someone that was like 6'3", and he was probably 5'10", and I'm like, bro, this, you know, how tall are you? And he was like, you know, said like 5'10". I was like, well, this says 6'3". And then he started to go with, oh man, I just got out of jail, and I was like, bro, I'm sorry, you know, I can't just take your word. So that was one thing I was really strict with, because you could get rolled. Pretty quick. So, and then I had found out there was one time there was these 4 three undercovers that would come in. Like, I thought they were just like regulars. They would come in a lot of times at midnight, 2 older guys and a lady. And they would come in like pretty often, and they were cool. I'd be like, "What's up, guys?" And like one time the lady went to the bathroom. I was like, "So which one of you's hitting that?" Like just joking around. Then one time this big dude comes in. That like 5 of them come in, and my sister was working. So the normal 3, and then another Mexican dude, and then this big white dude come in. And my sister knew him, the big dude, because she works at the orthodontist. He would come into her orthodontist that she worked at. So he walked in. My sister's like, "Hey, John," and then they were like, all the rest were like, "What? You know her?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I go to the orthodontist." So, the lady pulled my girlfriend at the time into the bathroom and just was like, "Man, if she knows him, like our cover's blown, like we're all undercovers. We work the El Cajon Boulevard, the prostitution and the bars." And I was tripping. I was like, "No way!" I thought they were, regulars, like super cool. And they just said they're like, "Yeah, we like to come in here and." We didn't. A lot of times, at first they would use the city money, because they roll bars, have a couple beers, check it out. But they're like, we just like coming here. So when we'd start our shift, we'd be like, yeah, let's go to McMurphy's and have a few beers.
Job. Have a few beers.
I
for
know.
Work.
Yeah. I was like, dang. So you go. Yeah. I was like, so you go grab a beer, you go bar hopping, and then pull some hoes because they'd work the prostitution. So yeah, they'd go have a few beers and then just go work the prostitution. I was like, man, that's cool. So yeah, then they couldn't come in anymore after that because you know what I mean. Like we know, so it'd be a waste of the city's money. Yeah. So that was one cool thing that happened.
So how much trouble can you get in if you get caught drinking behind your bar?
I don't. I mean, you definitely could have. It's more if you're like obviously drunk. You know what I mean? If you're intoxicated and serving, then that's an issue there because you're going to be slipping on checking IDs and just like I've done it when it was slow. Once you have a few beers, you do loosen up. And you're like, yeah. But I'd still be hardcore on checking IDs and then so the point I was getting at was another thing I was strict on is no beer out after 2 a.m. because that's another thing. Your license runs, till 2 a.m. Once if you have any beers out, then you could get fined if it's after 2. So, depending on the night and how slow it was, I would just make sure, say if you guys were there, I'm like, hey guys, it's 1:55, you have 5 minutes to finish your beers, and I'd let it get more down to like the minute. But when it's busy, I'd give them a countdown from like 30 minutes, 15, 10, and so one time it was like 2 in the morning, and my sister, tried to grab this one guy's beer because, she knew how strict it is to do that. And he pulled it away and hit her hand. And I was like, and she's like, Korey, this dude, I tried to take his beer because it's 2 and he hit my hand. I was like, what? And then my brother was working at the time too. And my brother walked by and the dude, was kind of like talk shit to my brother. I was like, oh man. So I grabbed his beer and then I was like, bro, you got to go. So I kind of started pushing him out, by his back, and he starts throwing his elbows around, and so I just wrapped him up and gave him a good, bear hug. And he was like a kid and dropped all his weight, so he was dropping to the ground, but then he just slid right into a chokehold. I'm like, okay. So I got him in a chokehold, and then my brother just runs up, in the perfect time, grabs his legs. So I'm carrying dude in a chokehold. My brother has his legs. We just take him outside and
old
kind
school
of throw him.
Throwing out the bar.
Yeah, I didn't let him down gently from the chokehold. I'm just tossed him out, and because you get a little upset, especially for sure. In touching my sister, you know what I mean?
What's a child? You can't take your beer. You got a problem. I mean, it's a child mentality.
Yeah, no, they just get drunk and just kind of. Yeah, get weird.
Now, is that a strict rule with ABC where 2 a.m. hits and nobody can have a beer in their hand anymore?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not just if you buy it by 2, you can't. There can't be any alcohol out. That's why say a club downtown, that's why they at 1:30 they're like, all right, everyone, because it takes them so long to actually get everyone out. It's a process, so that's why they cut it that early.
Yeah, I always thought, because everybody always thinks that it's 2 a.m., that bars can sell you beer until 2 a.m., and that just beer can't be sold after 2 a.m.
Yeah, no, it's 2 a.m., and I was even strict, like one time my youngest sister was under 21, and my mom was like, Korey, can Laura come, and I was like, Mom, I can't, and she's like, and my two sisters look alike. One's, 10 years older or so, and so I was like, nah, Mom, you can't do that. No, wait, she's only 6 years older, my bad. I'm 10 years older than her. So, yeah.
Dang, there's so many things I never really thought about.
So, yeah, I didn't even let my own sister in. I was like, no, Mom, I can't. Sorry.
That's fucking with your business if you do that.
Yeah, just there could be things like those. Those undercovers that were in there. They're like, man, we couldn't tell you because you didn't know who we were. But they're like, we give you props on how strict you were. We'd notice you all the time when someone would walk in with checking IDs, with making sure beer's gone at 2. The one guy is like, you run a tight ship. Good job. So that was pretty cool coming from them, because really you don't think anyone notices the positive of it. It's more you're ripping beers out of people's hands, and they're pissed off and blah, blah, blah.
Well, you opened my eyes a little bit when you said how you have to get boisterous with people at the bar to let them know. Because there'd be times I walk into a bar at PB and all of a sudden I got somebody yelling at me and I'm like, here's my ID. Sorry, man. Like, shit. But now I get it. No, they're just trying to get my attention. Yeah. They're trying to fuck with me.
And because a lot of times if you don't voice it quick, it's loud in there. You walk in and you're just beaming. You got your one track, like your friends over there or whatever. So then he has to chase you down just to get your ID. So, and that was kind of a pet peeve too when people don't want to, for some reason, there's people that don't want to show you their ID and they get mad about it. And I'm just like, bro,
it's kind of the law.
And they'd be 22 years old thinking they're like, why are you IDing me? I'm 22. I'm a idiot. Yeah. I'm all, because I think the general, if they look 35 or younger, then you have to.
That's what ABC says to do, right? 35 and younger?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just, that was one thing. That's when I go to a bar, I'm 37 now, I'll go to a bar and have my ID ready already just because that was, I appreciated it. I mean, and once I know people, once they're for sure over 21, you don't have to card them every time, of course. But, yeah, so.
Even still, I have my ID out when I go into a bar. Just have it. Just pull it out and have it ready.
Yeah, that's cool. See, I appreciated that when people do that. I honestly had no idea people would give an attitude about showing their ID. You're just like, whatever.
Yeah, I remember you being strict because anyone that I ever brought in there, you're like, hey, can you tell your buddy to show me his ID? I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Walk to the bathroom right away or something.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, a lot of times people, have to go to the bathroom. They shoot straight to the bathroom. So
I remember there was twice I was in there and a cop came in. And you chatted with him for 20 minutes. Is he just checking out, make sure everything's good or what?
There was one cop that we knew, in the beginning, these police officers would come in, and so I guess when they were working, sometimes this one officer would pop in and say, what's up? So, yeah, generally when you see a cop, you're like, oh, man, what's up? But, yeah, he was just a cool guy checking in, saying what's up.
What's the point of that?
What's the point of what?
Of the cop coming and checking in.
Just more of a friendly thing. Just like, hey, Korey, I was driving by. Just want to say what's up.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, he was cool. Cool dude.
Yeah.
In the beginning, too, there was some cops. One guy was running for something for the city. I forget what. Not mayor or anything. But so all the cops around 4 o'clock, there would be, a good amount, a handful of cops that would come in and hang out.
When the first time I went to your bar, you had a bottle of some Asian liquor or rice liquor or whatever it was.
Oh, yeah.
You said you were allowed one bottle of serving, or not serving liquor, what did you call it?
Personal?
Personal, I think? Yeah, you're allowed one bottle of personal liquor?
No, you can't have liquor in there at all. That's the ku soju. If you notice, there's some, Asian restaurants, or if they just have their beer and wine license, then they can sell that because it's more about how it's made. Like if it's distilled, then you can't have it. But the way that coup is made, it's like made from potatoes, and so yeah, it wasn't very strong. I believe it was like 24 proof. It's like 48%. But it was pretty smooth.
You were allowed to have it? Yeah, I remember you gave it to me a few times.
Yeah, Anheuser-Busch had distributed that. But maybe what you're thinking of, I had some bottles because I had bought a bunch, and then they stopped like distributing for Anheuser-Busch stopped distributing it. So I just had these leftover ones that, was kind of more exclusive, I guess. I don't know. I would bust it out once in a while, yeah.
But could you get in trouble for giving somebody one of those shots?
No. It was totally... You could have that under a beer and wine license.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, I had heard someone... it was just a rumor, but a previous owner of that same bar that I bought, someone had given him a bottle of liquor for a Christmas present, or gave one of the bartenders. So he had it in the back, and he got in trouble for that one time. They came in and searched, and because when you own a bar, they could come in at any time and search your whole place with no reason.
Really? You can't do anything about it?
No.
How many times does that happen?
None. Not for me, anyway. But the rumor of that other person, they came in and checked and found that bottle of hard alcohol, and they got a fine. I think the first, depending on the severity, you could get a good fine. Like, I don't even want to throw out a number, but I will. I think it was like 8,000 or something. I had heard on your first. That could be wrong. It could be 3,000. It's been a while. So, but then after that, you could get your license suspended for like 30 days, and so.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
So you're pretty strict on no hard alcohol, no, checking IDs, closing at 2. Those were like my main strict rules.
Damn, I keep thinking about how much money, because we used to go to Wong's.
Golden Palace?
Yeah. The Dragon Room. And we knew a bartender there. Now all I'm thinking about is how much money that place was losing.
Oh, dude, I mean,
while that bartender was there.
I mean, tons, dude. This isn't an exaggeration. When we go there, I would say at least $150 she'd give away, at least.
Whoa.
Dude,
see,
at least. Yeah. That's not even exaggerating, dude. That's at least $150.
And you know what? I even heard stories about that. Working at the bar, people would go to Wong's just because they'd make super strong drinks and just hook it up. And so, that's definitely... So I think a lot of people went there because of that. So maybe that's, how they were getting it, a little popping. But, yeah, definitely the owner, I'm sure, wouldn't be too cool with that.
But, I mean, if you were younger, the older bartenders would just like try and hook you up because they thought maybe they were going to get lucky at the end of the night. But dude, I mean, all the bartenders there. We had one in particular who never charged us for anything. Like, we'd drink all night for free.
No way.
Yeah, but all the bartenders would hook you up like beyond belief.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you couldn't even drink. Like, hey, can you put a little more soda in this?
Yeah, I asked for soda several times because the one broad, when I was going through my divorce, I would go in there every night she worked. I just text her and be like, hey, you working tonight? She'd be like, yeah. I'd stop because I worked till midnight every night. So I'd stop in, and then I'd sit there and drink with her till 4 or 5 in the morning.
Oh, yeah. See, that's...
For free almost.
Past 2, still drinking?
Yeah,
that's... Some people could close the doors, I mean, if there was no windows and the doors were closed and, but it's still... against the law to do that.
I used to park in front of the front door of Wong's.
Dang.
And leave there at 4 or 5 in the morning.
Yeah. They could get rolled for sure for doing that.
Yeah, I always thought that was cool to shut the doors and keep drinking. As long as it was like, nothing else was being sold. It's like private party status. But because the bar can't do nothing.
Because it's a public, public place.
Damn, I didn't know how.
Like I would, as long as the beers were gone, I'd round them up. I would let people still chill and stay. I'm like, you guys, I'm not kicking you guys out, but like if they're cool, like I was like, I'm not kicking you guys out. You guys should stay and chill. I got to do all these dishes anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So a lot of times I'm working. There could be people in there till like 2:30 or 3. If I knew them, and that's not against the law, just having them in there, but they can't be drinking a beer. So as long as I round them all up, they could be chilling. If a cop came by, I'd be like, yeah, no one has a beer out. It's all gone.
Such a different outlook on bars now.
Yeah, they're and then it's like California makes it hard to do business. makes it hard to do business in California just with everything you have to pay for. You know, you got your insurance. You have to have like $1 million liability insurance. You know, and that's usually those, I think, about like $2,200 to $2,500 a year. You definitely have to have that. And you have to have a business license, your seller's permit. Every quarter you have to, because like you're saying, the tax is included. So if I charge, some people will charge, say you charge $3 for a Bud Light. Well, that's including tax, unless you want to charge, $3 plus tax, but then you're dealing with pennies.
Yeah,
and, you know what I mean? It's pretty easy. Just keep it at $3. So then you have to calculate your sales for the whole quarter and then back out the taxes that you owe. So, you know what I mean? Say you brought in, I don't know, $30,000 a month or whatever. After at that quarter, you have to add it up, $120,000, and then find out what the tax is, and pay the tax on that, the sales tax on that $120,000, because the consumer, it's included when they, there's some places that charge, plus tax, so that's, they're not really feeling that hit. So and that does feel like a hit when you have to pay that. You're like, damn, but whatever. So you have the, your business license, your seller's permit, you got your taxes to the Board of Equalization, which is the, in charge of the seller's permit, pay those taxes every quarter. Then of course your income tax, you have to have your books, everything done, and your insurance, the cost of beer and everything, cost of cable, electricity, your staff,
Damn, did you hire an accountant for all this?
No.
Did it all yourself?
My girlfriend at the time was, she wasn't an accountant, but she did the books for like a couple businesses prior. So she just did on QuickBooks, and it was pretty easy for her.
When you guys split, we're like, hey, you mind still doing my books for me?
No, I felt like towards the end of that relationship, she almost felt like I needed her, and like by the way she was acting, I'm like, I had to cut her and just be like, I'll do shit myself. Like, you're not that important for me to put up with your bullshit. So, yeah.
Real fast on the girlfriend topic, what I was going to tell you earlier, the line that you said that stuck with me.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
Your coworker's daughter.
Yeah.
The crazy one.
Yeah.
But you were telling she was crazy, you were saying towards the end.
Yeah, she was cool, but it was kind of like having a daughter.
Yeah.
I think as a friend, like, she's really cool, but when you're trying to, when you date a girl, you want a woman, not like a child that you have to take care of. So what's that? What'd I tell you?
So I think at the time she was like 22 or 23. You're like, she's a lot younger than me. He's like, but I can't date chicks my own age because either they've been fucked over by too many guys and are batshit crazy in the head, or they got a handful of kids.
Yeah.
So you gotta date younger. And I started thinking, I was like, holy shit, that's fucking true, because now that I'm seeing, the older women that have been through these relationships, they are nuts. They're so defensive on the line that you're feeding them lines, or just, it's insane.
They've been through it. Yeah.
They don't trust any guy.
They've had that extra 10 years of just bullshit from guys.
Yeah, exactly.
So, my girlfriend right now is 9 years younger than me. So, usually, keep it young. And then sometimes she jokes around. She's like, man, because she's 28 right now. She's like, you're just going to trade me in when I'm 30. She's just joking.
Well,
yeah, it's our little inside joke. I'm like, yeah. A lot of times gravity takes over, their booty starts dropping. And
so unfair, too, because you look good for fucking... I didn't know you were 37. I thought you were so much younger.
Oh, right.
I never knew how much old you... I didn't know how old you were when we were going to your bar. I thought you were, like... Well, I'm 32.
So you just thought I was...
I thought you were, like, my age or his age. Between us.
Yeah. Yeah. It sucked when I was young, being 16, looking like you're 12.
Yeah.
But, it paid out. It's cool. It's all good now.
So how did you get all these investment properties?
It was...
Sorry to change the subject, but you said you got 9 investment properties. That tripped me out right now. I want to hear about that.
Yeah, it's just kind of work. I've been working since I was 10 years old. So it's, that's mainly just had that drive ever since a little kid, just make money. Like, started at Kaiser when I was 18. I still lived at home at the time until my parents got a divorce when I was 21. You know, I was just had my 4Runner, lifted 4Runner, bought my first Honda CBR when I was 19, had all that paid off, and was just stacking money as much as I could. Anytime they offered overtime at Kaiser, I'd do it as much as they offered. And, I just always had that drive to, you know, make money while you can. And it's pretty cool. I'm going to retire from Kaiser in less than 2 years now. So when I'll be 38, it'll be exactly my 20-year mark from when I started, August 4th of 97.
38, you're going to retire. That's insane.
Yeah,
That's unheard of.
I did it backwards. You know, I just hustled and worked a lot and retire and then have kids.
So, 38, dude. That's fuck.
Well, he's to retire from Kaiser. With the way you talk, you're never going to stop working.
Yeah, you know, after the bar, like it's cool. I think when you have so many things to do, like a lot of people be like, man, how do you do it? Like, you know, with such little sleep. And really, you just don't have a choice. When you know you have to do something, there's no thought about it. You just do it. You know, you just wake up after 2 hours. There's a few times where I had found out if it's less than 2 hours of sleep, I will not hear my alarm clock, nothing. I'm like dead to the world. There's one time it was like 5 a.m. and I tried to lay down before I had to wake up for Kaiser, and didn't happen. 2 hours minimum, I won't hear anything. So a couple times I'd wake up with that crazy, you know, like, oh shit, you know, and I hate that feeling. You're late. I wake up at 7:30. I was supposed to be there at 6:30, 6:45. I'm like, damn, fuck. So that's a shitty feeling. But I just think when you have to do something, you know, you there's no thought about it. You just do it. Now that I sold the bar, it's like, I don't want to say I'm lazier, but when you don't have to do something, you're like, man, I'm going to lay in bed for longer this morning. You know, like today after work, I took a nap. Like, I would never get naps.
I think you think you're being lazy, but I think because you're comparing that to how much you were working.
True. Yeah, that could be true. Kind of have set a high standard.
20 hours a week, dude, that'll kick your ass. He did it. You did it for what, almost a year?
Yeah, almost a year of working 5 days a week, 2 jobs.
Oh, yeah, I know.
You still haven't gotten back to your old weight. Like, you're still pretty, I don't know, you're like, what, like 160, 165, right? Before you started working at your second job?
No, I was like 185 because I was in the gym at the time.
So
I'm naturally super light.
Yeah.
And then I'd gotten up to like 185 and then started working 2 jobs, quit working out, lost all that muscle weight.
Yeah.
And then kind of from calorie intake built more weight up, and then quit drinking and lost all that weight.
Oh,
I lost 20 pounds after I quit drinking. I don't have 20 pounds to lose.
Yeah.
I'm skinny as shit as it is.
You got to hit the gym again in that protein, huh?
I'm so fucking lazy because of my kid anymore. Like, I just care about hanging out with him. I don't want to go to the gym.
I know. That's the thing, too. Once you get kids, your priorities change for sure. You know, you're like, okay, say you get off at 5, you're like, okay, I could go hit the gym for 2 hours, or go see my baby, you know, my newborn baby, or, you know.
Well, you might have a different perspective because I wasn't planning on having kids. Like, I didn't want kids ever.
Really?
Yeah, I never wanted a kid. My ex-wife had other plans.
Dang. Yeah. She was sneaky on you, or what?
I wasn't practicing safe sex, so it's partially my fault, but
Yeah.
my goal in life was to never have kids.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was definitely your fault. No,
for sure it was my fault.
If you never want to have kids, you should go,
for sure.
you know, get a vasectomy.
After like a year of not having unprotected sex and not having a kid, I was like, oh, for sure. I
thought you were in the clear.
I'm good. No, I'm retarded.
Dang. Yeah, I knew. We grew up, you know, I have 5 kids in my family, and my mom always had a daycare of 6 kids, so we always had 11 kids in the house.
Damn.
So I'm real, you know, I'm used to it, and I just think it's easier. It's hard to plan for a kid because there's always, you know, something you want to do or put it off, you know.
You can definitely
for a little
plan,
bit.
but no matter what people tell you, it's so new and unfamiliar.
And I just think I'm 37 now. I'm like, dang, I got to either pick to have kids or not. And I think when I'm older, I would regret it if I didn't have kids. It's easy just to do your thing right now. If you want to travel, hit the gym a lot, whatever you want to do. But I think in the future, I'd definitely regret it. So
for me, I wish now I was having a kid rather than 5 years ago.
Yeah, because it sets you back. Like a lot of times, if say a 19-year-old kid has a kid, or a 19-year-old kid has a kid, you just kind of get stuck in whatever job you're at. It's hard to progress and go to college at the same time, and you know what I mean, to better yourself. So it definitely sets you back from waiting. I would say, it's good to wait till your 30s, get everything out of your system, anything.
Totally agree.
Because I've been doing whatever I want for all these years, don't answer to anyone. And so now I'm just like, after selling the bar 2 years ago, I'm just like, I think this is my next step, and it's cool. It's a good feeling. Like it makes me, now that just found out my girl's pregnant, it just makes you feel like way more, I guess, connected to her, like I feel protective, like, you know what I mean? I feel it's just a whole new level of the relationship. Never going to get married, but my idea was, because I think when you get married, like say you propose to your chick, it's so exciting, that engagement stage. Then you get married, and that's so exciting. They plan everything for the wedding, but then after that, it's, of course it's, you gotta work on your relationship. You know what I mean? You gotta work on your marriage. It's not just easy. But so I had the idea. I was all, babe, how about this? Because she, I'm very open about it with her. I'm like, how about I propose to you? Because girls want to feel secure, like you're not going anywhere. You know what I mean? And so they have that ring on their finger. I was like, I'll propose, and we could just be engaged forever, because that's the happiest time, when people are engaged, And when people ask us, oh, when do you get married? We're like, never.
That's
we'll be engaged forever. What's that?
I've been engaged for 2 years.
Oh, you're not married yet?
No. I'm terrified of marriage, dude. She's actually told me today, she goes, honestly, honey, we don't have to get married. I know you don't want to get married. And dude, I love the shit out of her, and I trust her beyond belief. I think marriage is ridiculous. Yeah. I don't believe it. I think it's a joke.
I'm a little like my parents. After 25 years, my mom, like when back in 2000, when AOL and chatting and everything started, my mom did that and cheated on my dad, and that's how we totally caught her, and it was just retarded. So I feel like as a man, the main woman figure that you trust is who? Your mom.
Yeah.
And when you see how your mom could just flip the script and split up your whole family and do all that, so I think definitely that has some influence on me being scared of marriage. And I've been with, in this my fifth, long-term relationship that's, and it's hard to take that risk, like I'll take some risks with, certain things, but with marriage, I'm so scared to get a divorce. That's,
Yeah, I'm with you.
So the best way to never get it right. Okay, yeah, you went through that, right?
Yeah.
Is it cool? Would you? Yeah,
it
sucks, right?
It wasn't fun at all.
Yeah, it sucks. So the best way to never get a divorce is to never get married. And I don't need that certificate from the state. I don't need to sign that and screw myself. Like, do you guys ever watch Tosh Point Oh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I was dying one time. He's all, marriage is for women and gays.
So true.
Yeah, I'm all, and all my girl's with me, and of course she knows how I feel. I started dying, and she's just like, oh, that's so true. Guys get screwed. This one dude I know, he's married, he makes good money, he has 2 kids. Him and his chick split up. And guess how much he pays her a month for alimony and child support for just 2 kids? $7,000.
He was making money.
Ow, like that. How would you feel to pay $7,000 to a chick that's probably not working and
why
take
would
care?
she ever work again?
Yeah.
Well, dude, I know guys that fucking that pay so much child support and alimony that they can't even afford a studio apartment.
Dude, I know.
It's crazy.
It's so, to me, it's. I mean, props to the people that for a lot of people, marriage works, and that's great. It's hard to take that risk of seeing all the failed marriages, and yeah, I'm not a risk taker on that one. Not a gambling man.
My taking on it is the fact that I'm happy as can be right now. Why change it? I don't.
Yeah, that's another thing. There's a lot of people, they could be together for 7 years, 8 years. I was talking to a chick, and she was saying she knew someone in this category. Everything's great, 7, 8 years, 9 years, however long you're together. Then they get married, and boom, get divorced in like a year. And that's another thing that I'm scared of is the girl changing, because you kind of go into it, and if they feel like they have you by the balls and they know they could screw you over, then they start getting all brave, and you know what I mean? That's not cool.
It's like you hear the guy who's like, once I got married, I never had sex again.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Oh, nope.
Sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Well, I fully believe, and a lot of women don't believe it, but both parties change when you get married.
Yeah.
So I don't see the point ever getting married.
But for the better or for worse?
It almost feels like not both parties weren't being 100% honest.
Yeah.
That's why nowadays, like with my current girlfriend, we've been together almost 2 years, and I've been 100% open and honest. It's the best relationship I've been in.
Well, are you going to get married?
No.
Yeah. What's the point, right?
No. And
I think a lot of it, is society. It's just telling you this is what you're supposed to do. This is, and I'm
just
like,
better than you.
Yeah, times have changed a lot, I think. You don't, just because if I have a family with the girl, who's that one dude? He's been with this chick for so long. The Simmons dude that was in Kiss.
Oh
yeah. Wasn't he was with this chick and like, yeah. What's wrong with that? You could, it
wasn't
keeps everyone honest. Just like especially him, if he has money, my uncle's an attorney. He said that common law doesn't exist in California anymore, right?
No.
Yeah, so worst case, say you have a couple kids. Worst case, you pay child support, but they're not getting half of everything. You're not paying alimony, and I just can't take that risk. So I think it's cool. My girl seems to be happy with it, and other people are like, "Oh yeah, that's what she says now." But I think she's a good girl, and she's kind of cool with the idea.
I think when you're not married, I think it keeps both parties trying harder.
Yeah, I know. I think so, too. As long as they have a nice ring and feel like you're not going anywhere, like you at least made that commitment. Like we could have marriage is really just between you two, right? So why do you need to have this whole show with everyone? And I kind of don't like being the center of attention anyway. So even just the thought of having a wedding, and I'm just like, kind of scares me. But yeah, if it's between you two, you can make that commitment between each other and not involve the state. And, just like, babe, you're the one I want. I want to be with you forever. Blah, blah, blah,
Yeah, my girlfriend, I told her flat out, like, look, I had a terrible marriage. I'm not doing that shit again. So if I do get married, it's not going to be for a long time.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to bear with me.
Or, like I said, you could just do it between you and her and not with the state.
Well, the only reason that...
What do you mean by that? Like a fake marriage?
Well, if a marriage is between you and your chick, you don't have to just have a certificate from the state. Like, you signing that certificate, does it really make it that much more real for you and your girl? Yeah. Like, it's all your belief and, what's in your head. But, like I said, I think society kind of puts these pressures on people, you know what I mean? And
I hate that. When are you getting married?
Yeah.
Dude, that's fucking insane.
Yeah.
The only reason I agree with marriage, the one reason is the spousal rights. Like, if you were to get into a motorcycle accident and your family didn't like your chick for whatever reason, they could always shun her, and since she's not family, she can never see you.
Yeah.
She has no right to you because she's not your spouse.
What do you mean she can't see you?
Like, let's say for instance, you went on a motorcycle ride, got in an accident, were unconscious in the hospital, and for whatever reason, your family didn't like your girl. But since she's just your girlfriend...
That's a bad sign right there.
Yeah. Yeah. just for argument's sake, they don't like her, and they don't want to let her up there. Well, because she's not family, the hospital can't do anything about it. She can't go see you.
Yeah.
So there are some spousal rights I agree with, but for the most part, I'm against marriage.
But then again, the flip side of that is the spousal right of taking half if you have any assets.
Exactly. That's why I'm still against marriage.
Yeah.
Until and I'm like, our fucking archaic laws get changed.
Yeah.
Because we had our laws put in place back in the 50s when they made sense.
Yeah. I mean, so many things have changed, even from the Bible days and premarital sex and all that. That was so long ago. I think premarital. I actually grew up Mormon.
No shit.
Yeah, so I just have always had my own beliefs. I'm like, you know what? If I'm dating one girl and I'm monogamous, I don't see why that's a big deal.
I don't see why I can't have 8.
Really, just now?
No. It's cool. It was cool. They have good family values, and it was great. But I just, there's something. A lot of church people, I don't know, when they're the kind of hypocrites.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I saw that a lot. How people are so hardcore, and then how they really are. It's like, if you want to be so Christ-like, how are you treating these people like this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Practice what you preach.
A lot of them don't see it, though. I get into arguments with people all the time. It's like, well, if you're supposed to be Christian, are you supposed to not judge? Why are you judging me right now?
I know.
I don't understand
They judge you a lot. And like I said, I don't want to categorize all of them because, most of them are great. But it's just, I don't know. I have my own, I guess.
I wouldn't say most of them are great at all.
I have my own beliefs in my heart. I think if you're a good person and, do unto others as you would have them do to you, I think that's a good rule to live by. And, I just try and help people as much as I can. And, so I kind of think church is in your heart, not going to a physical building,
Well, then, especially with, you go to Texas with the mega churches. They're pulling millions of dollars.
They're killing it, yeah.
Are you profiting?
I bet more non-believers than I have, positive people than believers.
What?
Just
roundabout
more non-religious people that were positive.
Exactly.
Religious people that
said that all wrong. Yes.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's
because we're the same way. Like you, just be good people, live good lives, be nice to others.
Yeah.
And try not to be a dick.
Don't lie. Don't steal. Help people out as much as you can. I'm kind of I talk to a lot of random strangers. It's it's kind of fun for one, talking to weirdos and stuff. But I usually say hi to so many people as I'm walking by, and I just kind of have that positive attitude, help people out, and have a good vibe. And
you're always upbeat, man. Every time I've been around you.
All right, on. Thanks. That was same to you.
It's because I want to tie you up and take you home my trunk.
Yo, you have a purty mouth. But yeah, no, religion's cool for and no matter what religion it is, if it makes a person better or your family better, then that's cool. Whether it's Mormonism, Jehovah's Witness, Catholic, Christian, Jewish, whatever makes a person better, and that's fine. That's cool. I don't think God's gonna if it comes down to it in the last days and you're judged or whatever. I don't think. I'll take my licks, but I don't think it's that bad if I don't go to physical church. And you know what I mean? How if there is God and and it comes time and you get judged, do you think he's going to be that mad at you for if you're still a good person and you help a lot of people out? And you know what I mean?
That's the one thing I don't, because I've asked because we have really Christian family, and I've asked some of them about it, because I was talking to my uncle, and he's Christian, and in order to be Christian, you have to accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. Is that what it is?
Think so.
Whatever.
I'm not Christian. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever it is that for them to get accepted into heaven, you have to accept him as your Lord and Savior. I'm not really sure because I don't pay that much attention. Then it just still feels like nonsense to me, no matter how it's explained. But I told my uncle, I was like, I can't say that because I don't believe it. I was like, so because I don't believe it. I don't get to go to heaven? I don't understand. If I'm still a good person, I don't get to go to heaven because I haven't accepted him as my Lord and Savior. I don't understand what the problem is.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't seem like a fair and just God.
Yeah.
If that's how it is.
Yeah. And some religions, too, are like, oh, if you don't believe in our religion, like, you're not going to heaven. And it's like, wow, so many people believe that, and there's so many different religions. You know what I mean? That's kind of weird. And, I mean, just looking on both sides of things, it's like, it's all a belief, of course, right? But what if there isn't a heaven? What if a heaven was just this created for the afterlife? Like, so, okay, say your family member dies. It's great to feel like you're going to see him in heaven, and it helps with the grieving process. And I mean, I hope there's a heaven for sure. But when you just look at both sides, it's like, what if there isn't? What if we die and get buried? And of course we have souls, but like, do we go to this amazing place where, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it helps to deal with death for, you know, family members and everyone. Like, I want to believe I'm going to see my grandma and everyone, you know?
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, you're like, what if?
Yeah, there's so many, you know, like, you know, places in Africa like that. They rely on Christian missionaries and all that to go out there and, you know, preach the word of God.
Yeah.
And there's so many places in the world that no one's even heard of, you know, Christianity.
Yeah.
And if you haven't accepted, you know, Jesus Christ, your Lord and Savior, then in their eyes you're going to hell. But it's like, what about all these people that haven't even heard of our, you know, that religion? It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And that's...
Wait, I think it's Catholic. That's Jesus Christ, because I don't know.
Yeah. So, yeah. I don't know. Hopefully there's a heaven. Everything's will be chilling up there.
I really hope there's a heaven, but to me it feels like wishful thinking. Like, I really hope there is.
Okay, check this out. My dad had remarried after my parents got divorced, and she had one son, and just the dad had left at an early age, like, well, you know, before he was 1 year old, and so it was just her and him. They didn't have a lot of money. They were always doing stuff like quality time, like camping, stuff that doesn't cost money, but you spend quality time. And then my dad and her married when her son was like 14. He graduates high school, like honors, like I don't know if he was the valedictorian, but then he gets in a car. He was with a dude, an acquaintance who was driving, gets in a car accident and dies. And so my dad's at work, and police come to her house and tell her the news. Her only son, that, you know what I mean? Just they're so close. And so for things like that, I hope there is a heaven. Like, because, man, I just had to put my dog to sleep after having him for 12 years yesterday. And it's like, man, I could only imagine if you lose your only son, like, that could ruin a person. But if you don't have faith in that, you know, there's something more, then it probably would ruin you, you know? Like, that's got to be so tough to lose your only son.
Yeah, I have a constant fear that, like, something's gonna happen to my son all the time.
Right? I know.
Yeah, I think about
that's crazy. Yeah. So, yeah, it's the worst thing that could happen to someone.
I think there's way too much suffering to believe in a fairy tale like that. It sounds fucked up to say that, but I think there's way too much shit going on out there to...
Well, I feel like I need one sign, one thing to happen to me that says, okay, this is actually true.
Yeah.
And then... if I see one thing that makes me believe, I'll go to church every Sunday.
Yeah.
But I've never seen anything that remotely makes me think that there's a God.
Yeah, one of my grandmas, she passed away back in 2006, but she was like the sweetest lady, never has one negative thing to say about anyone. One thing, her and my grandpa never argued. One time they got in an argument, and she wrote him a note like, I promise I will never argue with you again. And when she passed away, my grandpa had it laminated and always kept it in his wallet. And he said they never, I think they were married like 50 years or something, never once argued after she wrote that. So anyway, she had an out-of-body experience. So if anyone else was, it's like, if this is my grandma, like, I'm going to believe it, you know? So she was saying, this was back in like, probably like the 60s. She said she was laying in her bed with my grandpa. Next thing she knows, she was sleeping. And then, so she's going towards this really bright light. And she said it was like, you could communicate with people, like you could talk, but you're not speaking. verbally. It's just more, we know we're having a conversation mentally. And then something kept pulling her, saying, no, you have to go back for Robert and the kids, which is, my grandpa and my dad and his brothers. And she said the feeling that she felt was just such a good feeling that she didn't want to go back. But she said next thing she knew, she was, kind of like fighting it. And she was like pulling away from the light when she wanted to go towards it. And she said next thing she knew, she was in the corner of the room up in up by the ceiling, looking down at her body and my grandpa. And she said at like a heartbeat's pace, she got closer and closer to her body. And then boom, she sunk into her body, and she said it felt like a wet raincoat, you know what I mean? And she woke up and just was like pacing back and forth, and she didn't want to tell my grandpa because, she said the
story.
Yeah, he's going to think she's crazy. And so I guess when she did say that, he, did tell him, she's like, oh, they're going to come after you with the nets. Like, like she's,
crazy house.
Crazy. But yeah, so something like that, I just believe because it's my grandma and, whatever. But
stories like that I love hearing because I want to believe.
Yeah. She said it was the most amazing feeling, just conversating without even speaking. And she wrote the story down, and wrote her whole, how she felt and everything. So it's pretty cool.
I feel like I need something like that to make me.
Yeah, like
something that makes me like
close to death experience.
Really happened.
Yeah. And sometimes it's if things happen, everyone's everything happens for a reason, But sometimes I just think there's accidents that happen too. Like it's not like a 5-year-old getting hit by a car. Like I don't necessarily think it was their time to go. I just think it was an accident. Yeah, it's fucked up, But I don't know if God had a plan for that 5-year-old, to take him from Earth. I just think crazy shit happens sometimes.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing, too, that I don't understand when it's like, oh, it's their time to go. It's like, well, but why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why did this, like you said, a 5-year-old need to get hit by a car? Like, I don't understand why that needed to happen.
Because God has something else planned for them. But see, it's a way, like, how would that tear you up? If, but if you believe, that they had another purpose, then that's like the only way you could deal with it, Otherwise, you'd be a wreck.
My sophomore year in high school, one of my teachers, he was an ex-drug addict. And he was telling me how he got into teaching. He was driving his delivery truck. And God came down and talked to him and told him, you need to teach kids. And I was a punk-ass kid. I was like, you sure you still weren't on drugs? Like, he got super offended.
Yo, you weren't tweaking and up for 5 days and had hearing voices?
Yeah, he was still on drugs. So I basically asked, like, were you still high? Like, that would make sense to me. And he was like, didn't answer the question. He was like, it was God that chose this path for me to teach kids. And he felt like he was benefiting, but literally I learned nothing in his class because he would talk nothing about drug stories every day.
What?
So I learned nothing the entire year in his class.
Dang.
It was my history class. And so in my eyes, I was like, dude, you didn't help us at all. All you did was just buy time in this class so we have to learn shit. At the time, I was like, you're the coolest teacher ever because I don't learn anything. I just listen to your stories all day. But looking back, it was like, dude, it was a joke as a class.
Oh, my gosh. Dang. Yeah, that sucks. But, yeah, at the time when you're like, cool, let's hear some stories.
Yeah, exactly. You were smoking crack out of what?
Yeah. In high school, I had a super cool history teacher. For the final, it was the best final, bro. He split up. He said, all right, I'm going to divide the class in half. Here's the line. We're going to have side A and side B. And you have, like, the AP students, like, with you. I'm like, sick. We got some super smart people on our side. So he would ask a question, and the whole side A, would get to all talk and then give the answer. And that was everyone's final. So whatever side A gets, every single person gets that grade. So everyone got an A. Pretty awesome. I was like, That was the best final ever.
See, but you look at shit like that, but you don't want your kid to have that experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's cool when you look back on it, but I don't want my kid to have that
not every
experience.
teacher is like that, so it's kind of cool when you get that one that you get a little break. You're like, man, that's cool. How much of it are you going to remember anyway?
Yeah. I love history and I don't remember shit.
Dude, I know. Yeah, I was more into math. I've always,
Fuck, I'm so stupid with math, dude.
It's like you either like math and hate English, or you like English and hate math, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm a decent. I like English.
You like English?
Yeah.
See, there you go. I hated English.
It's very rare you come across like a teacher that really like hits you hard. Like my cousin, he's an awesome teacher. Like he connects with the students. You know, he grew up in the hood.
Yeah,
and he connects with students on a different level. There's very few teachers like that actually really put forth that effort.
Yeah. No.
Because, I mean, they're getting screwed. They're getting budget cuts all the time. It's horrible.
Know.
It sucks. It's kind of hard to be enthusiastic about your job when you're getting cut
I know.
pay all the time.
All the important, role models, jobs in the city are like the least paid. Like, I think teachers, police officers, firemen, their pay scale should be a little higher if they're risking their life.
Oh,
like,
yeah, for sure.
I would say have a salary cap on, sports stars and kind of pitch into, the local city workers.
It's frustrating when I hear people talk about teachers. Like, well, these teachers, they make six figures. Like, well, they should.
Yeah.
They're teaching our country's young, our future leaders. They should be getting paid.
I don't think any teacher that's like elementary, middle school, or high school is making six figures.
Not now. Not new teachers. Old teachers that have been there a long time. Because we have a couple of friends whose parents are teachers, and they make well over $100,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Do they have their master's degree or okay?
Like
and are they
cousin.
like a professor like in college?
No. High school teachers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like they're
That's
kind of
cool.
grandfathered in almost, to where they're on an old contract, and now the new teachers can't even get near that pay.
Dang. I know depending on the district, I had a buddy that, it's a teacher, and depending on the district, I think the starting salary is like $31,000 to $34,000.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
You're not trying to get into teaching because you want the money. You're getting into teaching because you like to teach.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
just the bottom line.
Maybe that's why they're trying to keep it like that. It weeds out the money hungries and keeps it for the people that have the heart to do it.
That's what sucks. No matter what the pay's at, someone's still going to go to school to be a teacher. They want to be a teacher. They want to teach.
Yeah.
Some people are good at it, some aren't.
Yep. I know.
But what sucks too is the degree that you need, the bachelor's degree that you need to become a teacher, is also one of the easiest degrees to get.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of people fall into it because it's an easy degree to get.
Yeah.
And then get their credential and then start teaching.
Well, that's what's hard, though, right? To get your teaching credential?
Yeah. Well, it's not hard to get. It's the time you have to put into it.
Hey, so what do you guys think about Donald Trump on politics?
We pay little attention to politics.
We just had this argument. We had two podcasts of politics. The last one.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and I realized how fucking dick little I know about politics. But I watch all Trump's speeches. They're hilarious. He's an idiot, but they're hilarious.
He's so funny. He just says like exactly
I'm a billionaire,
what.
so why wouldn't you want?
I would like gun control to be, little not so tight in California. You know what I mean? And I know Obama's about to, huh?
So I was hoping you weren't going to say the opposite.
Oh no, I love gun. I think all of us should be able to carry guns.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you tighten the gun laws, the law-abiding citizens, obey the law and don't carry the gun. Then you have the criminals with the guns. So like Arizona, I'm sure they have less robberies, carjackings. Everyone has a gun if they want. You know what I mean? So I think just Wild Wild West,
Exactly. You're a little apprehensive to come at somebody when you know they're carrying.
Yeah.
Respect is a lot higher, too.
Yeah. Do you think someone, everyone driving a car, if you're going to carjack them, most likely they're not going to have a gun. But, in Arizona, you got to think twice about that.
It's like even walking through the store and somebody shoulder bumps you, doesn't say excuse me. You think twice
pull out your gun and blast them. No, I'm just kidding.
That's a horrible example. But no, you know what I'm trying to say. Like
Spring Valley swap meet, you're getting a shoulder bump. Just start blasting. Nah.
But the respect is there when you know. I mean, when I feel like everyone's more willing to go that extra step and come at you, try to rob you, or if they know that you don't have any. Even even come into your house.
Yeah. I know Obama's supposed to give that executive order on something on gun control. I don't know if it's for assault rifles or what, but I think in a week or two I heard
he needs to up his security once if he does something stupid like that.
Dang, I know.
Assault rifle nonsense.
Does that sound like a threat? Does that sound like I'm threatening Obama? You better tighten up that security.
I hate the assault rifle argument because you have rifles and handguns. You don't have assault rifles and rifles. You have rifles. It's just an assault rifle because you add some things to it. Because I can take a fucking 308 hunting rifle and make it look like an assault rifle to somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. But usually they don't, the 308s don't have the high cap mags and,
We don't have that in California anyways.
So I got a few.
Hey, those are magazine repair kits.
Yeah. And then, what else was I going to say? Yeah, anyway.
Do you like Trump?
Funny. You know what? I think we need something because something done about just like terrorism and not keep letting. Yeah, America's the land of the free. That's great, but soon it's not. It's going to be all messed up if we're just letting in anyone who wants to come and we're just getting. They're coming exploiting us. Doing terrorist shit. I think it's reached a time where we do something about it and kind of close the borders.
I think he's fucking evil, though, man. Like, the way he's like, let's send them all back. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say, like, send them all back, but definitely tighten it and on who's coming in,
Yeah, for sure. But, I mean, the way he talks, he's so ignorant with it.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's just, it's so funny? The faces he makes. When someone says something, have you watched the presidential debates at all?
I haven't watched anything.
No? Oh my gosh.
I've caught clips of, because I have to go and like YouTube Trump after people start talking about it.
Yeah. No, yeah. When, his colleague, that's running for president in the Republican Party will say something, he makes this face like, just like he's a fucking idiot. He's like, it's so funny.
It's just nice that someone's stirring the pot.
Yeah.
We don't have the same jackasses up there spilling the same bullshit that nobody wants to fucking hear because you're not going to do anything about it anyway.
Yeah. Or, he says some dumb stuff like, having Mexico build their own border. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, spend a lot of time on doing that and just, dig a tunnel and go right under your big, massive border.
That's a dumb comment that he made. He goes,
I know.
Watch, mark my word. Because if I'm president, Mexico will pay to build my wall that I want. So,
Yeah,
dude, shut up.
He's being a little cocky there, huh?
But really, he has so much money, he's going to pour it out of his own pocket. It's like he said, he's like, I have so much money. Who cares if I spent $500 million on this? He's like, I still have, $9.5 billion.
I know. But then they could just dig tunnels, you know what I mean? But I think a lot of it's main focus is like the terrorism, not, on Mexico. But it's kind of tough just sitting back and you're just letting like the people coming over, just, what are they, the ones that were
Syrians?
In Germany? Yeah.
Syrian refugees.
Like just causing so much chaos and stuff. Like, man, if they let so many of them over here, that would...
Well, that's annoying because you don't know who... I mean, what if ISIS is infiltrating them and pretending to be a Syrian refugee? It's like, you don't know...
to have that.
Exactly. You don't know who's who, so you're letting them in.
I know.
Well, but what sucks, though, is we're bombing Syria. And so they're fleeing, and then we're not taking any of them. It's like, we're going to go fuck your country up, but we're not going to help you guys out. So we need to fucking stop bombing them.
Dude, check this out. I don't know if you guys knew this. I know this one guy who was in the military. Guess what his job was? Over in Afghanistan, he would always have a backpack of $100,000 in it. And, he would have like couple armed, Marines, of course, like guarding him. But they'd set up a tent, and the Afghanis would come, and if they would prove, like they had an itemized list of, if your house was blown up, a room, your cow was killed, your child, they had an itemized list, and we would sit there, or they would sit there and pay the Afghanis for what we blew up. I had no idea that even existed. So if we killed someone's child, guess how much the U.S. pays them?
Fine, nothing.
$2,500.
Yeah.
But if we killed their cow, we would pay them $5,000.
Cow's worth more.
Like, yeah, a child's a liability to them. A cow could, feed a lot of people. But I had no idea that if we're sitting there, bombing them and stuff, and then we're paying them for what we destroyed, like, is that kind of backwards?
Well, I don't know, because I was in the Army, I was in Iraq, and we had, constantly villagers come to our base and, prove that we fucked up their shit.
Yeah.
But these are just civilians that are trying to live their life, and then fucking we're looking for a terrorist, and we just drop bombs, and next thing you know, half their farm and house is destroyed.
No, I totally understand.
So then we kick them
both
some
sides.
cash, and a lot of times it's not even cash that we'd give them. It's just fucking food. Like, oh, you lost a cow. We'll give you the equivalent in food of what your cow.
That's legit. Yeah,
something like that. Because a lot of times it's not just cash.
I'm thinking war is war. Like, it's all,
Well, that's the thing, though, is that we're fucking. It's all the NATO nonsense, so we have to act like the good guys all the time, even though we're really not.
Yeah.
But we do. I mean, a lot of what we did in Iraq was humanitarian aid. I mean, my unit did so much humanitarian aid shit. We built fucking so much shit for the villages around us. We handed them fucking so much food, so many supplies, and they still hate us.
I know. I don't think that's like the definition of war. Almost, you know what I mean? It's like we're helping them so much, but
I was there through all the fucking Hearts and Minds campaign nonsense, where it's like we're going to try to win the hearts and minds of the Iraqis and Afghanis.
How'd that work out for you?
Hey, I wasn't infantry.
No, not you personally. No. I'm just saying the U.S. Like,
I didn't like any of it. Fucking, I didn't like being over there. I don't like us being over there. Fucking, I've talked to the locals who they want us to have a small presence there to keep the peace, but they don't want us there like we are, because all we're doing over there is fucking, bothering them. We're just harassing them. That's it. And that's why if we would pull out of the Middle East, we would have less of a terrorism problem.
Yeah.
Flat out. We're not meddling in their business anymore.
Yeah.
So why would they want to fuck with us?
No.
I watched this video on Vice, and they were talking about the drone attacks and stuff, and it's kind of fucked up how they bomb, because if they want to hit one target, they'll just bomb the whole area.
Yeah.
And they had families going on, like, crying about their kids. It's fucking pretty sad, dude. This documentary is fucking, totally. I don't know, it's pretty rough. They're like, we like the U.S., we want the U.S. here, but it's like, do they need to bomb this big of an area if they know the target's here? But it's like the drone can only be so accurate, and I don't know, it's pretty, it was pretty sad to watch.
Yeah, that sucks.
I saw a documentary. I found nowhere what I was watching, but they're interviewing a drone pilot who, after one mission, couldn't fly any more missions, and he targeted a building, and then boom, hit the launch button for the missile or the rocket, whatever fucking he shot at the building, and fucking as soon as he hit that button, he sees the door open, a kid comes running out the door, runs down the side of the building, and then it explodes.
Oh.
So after that, he's like, I couldn't fly any more missions after that. He's like, even though it was on a video screen, everything else, I can't get that out of my head. He's like, I killed a kid.
I bet. Like American Sniper, remember when that kid picks up that rocket launcher, and when it's like that, then if you have to smoke the kid at that point. You got to save your.
Seems like seeing shit like that, like believing in God, a little tough.
Yeah,
a little tough.
Well, being over in the Middle East is like, I only have Iraq as an experience, and a small portion of Iraq at that.
Yeah,
and then even
that's
smaller.
Cool. I'm glad I didn't know you were in the military, but that's cool that you have a personal experience.
It's something I don't really talk about.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't want to talk about it. I just don't see the point.
Yeah.
Like, it's something that I went through, and it does.
Did you have PTSD when you came back?
I think everybody who went overseas has PTSD. Yeah. I mean, I didn't see a whole lot, but just the environment that you're in. Because, I mean, I was on a base that got mortar attacked almost every day.
Dang.
It gets to a point where, like, when the mortars start hitting, the whole protocol is bombs hit and you go to the bunker. Because we have bunkers all over, so you go to a bunker. And it's like, so we're getting bombed, and now I'm hiding in a bunker while they could be overrunning us? Like, what are we doing here? And I got to the point where when bombs were dropping, I would just stroll to the bunker. I wouldn't run or hide or anything, because if you could hear them dropping, you're safe.
Yeah.
It's the ones that you don't hear you have to worry about. Or don't have to worry about, whatever.
And if you don't hear it, then it's too late.
if you're getting bombed and you don't hear it, it's because you got hit.
Damn.
It's pretty sad. Like Jeremy was telling me a story about when he was over there, and one of the mortars landed at the tent or whatever, and some of the guys got shrapnel.
Oh, that was a lucky. It was my second day in Iraq. And I'm sitting there like we're still getting settled. We're in 18-man tents. and then just fucking kaboom, like the loudest explosion I've ever heard in my life.
Dang.
And, I'm fresh in Iraq, fucking scared shitless, hiding in the bunker going, what the fuck just happened? Fucking 2 tents over, because around each tent we had cement barriers, so that way if one tent gets hit, it doesn't fuck up all the other tents, because, shrapnel can fly right through tent like nothing. So, but 2 tents over, a rocket had shot. Rockets are way more dangerous than mortars. Because mortars, they lob them up and they fall down, hit a rocket. It's a direct shot. And rockets are weird because you can hear them coming like a millisecond before they hit. You just hear this like whistling, this
coming in hot. Huh?
But what's funny is our mortar platoon. It's our infantry mortar guys. They're in charge of shooting mortars, and it was their whole platoon in the tent. And it just so happened that they're all watching a movie on one side of the tent, and there was like 3 guys on the other side of the tent working on something, and that's where the rocket hit. And when the rocket hit and exploded, instead of exploding, it banana peeled. So it just peeled open rather than exploding.
Damn.
So only a couple guys got hurt, and it was just like, a couple concussions and then some shrapnel. Like one dude permanently has a piece of metal in his arm from the shrapnel. But it was like such a lucky experience. Even though they still got a fucking rocket that landed in their fucking tent.
Yeah, that's gnarly.
Landed in their tent, just having a couple pieces of shrapnel and a couple concussions.
Woo. Call that a close call, huh?
The point I was trying to make about that story was, though, he was telling me a lot of these couple of those guys were trying to do a Purple Heart, right?
Oh, it's fucking douchebags. Because they were filling out Purple Heart paperwork for their concussions.
No way.
And then a lot of the guys that were just saying they had a concussion, but try to get a Purple Heart. And I was like, dude, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
But like, so now when I see Purple Heart and license plates, I feel like how many of these guys? And I don't mean to like, dude. For the guys that have it, that real shit. I feel bad saying it, but But after that story, like, you just want to go home and say so bad that, like, oh, I got a Purple Heart, got hurt. It's like, that's fucking, you're getting everybody else.
You're thinking they're, like, on the front line, battling, taking a couple hits, and then, get through the whole war and are still alive, and then, that's...
And I knew a couple guys who blatantly deserved a Purple Heart, and, like, no. I don't want it. Like, I'm not putting that on my uniform. No.
Wow.
So...
That's cool.
And that's what I'm saying. You got guys with honor like that, and then you got the guys that just can't wait to get home and brag. Like, dude, my brother was fucking 1% honest about Iraq. I wasn't frontline. I wasn't out there. I was fucking supply. Like, he's not sitting there trying to act like he was putting some mad work out there in Iraq.
Crazy war hero.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh? I was like fucking Rambo out there.
But what's funny, dude, is he doesn't even mention he was ever in the Army, ever in Iraq.
Yeah.
I always put him on blast because he doesn't like to talk about it. I just like to fuck with him.
Uh-huh.
So if someone's sitting there bragging about Iraq, I'm like, oh, my brother's in Iraq too. And they're like, oh, really? He's like, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
He just doesn't want to talk about it.
Yeah. Or you like to use it because you want to know whether or not they're telling the truth or not.
Yeah, I usually.
Oh, yeah?
That's usually when he'll put me on blast. He's like, oh, you were in Iraq? Well, my brother's in Iraq too. And they'll either, like, stop talking about what they were talking about, or the conversation like is minimal about what they were talking about, or they'll go more into detail because they're being honest,
and then connect with you about like being over there or something, huh?
Well, like a guy that a couple years back, I'm not saying names, but he was talking about Iraq, and I don't know, dude. I wasn't over there, but he's talking about how many people he saw die, and Jeremy's sitting there just letting him be, and he's like, I couldn't even imagine the time that you were over there, Jeremy, and he's like, I didn't see anything like that, so like I don't know. And he kept going with it. As he kept getting drunker, he's like, yeah, I got to go see a psychiatrist. And tell Korey what you're saying, that what you've experienced, the 2 type of guys over there in Iraq.
Personally, my experience, I've ran into 2 types of people who say they've killed people, or guys in the military who have killed people. I've run into 2 experiences. Guys who have truly killed people. Either they talk about it like it's just another day on the job, like they talk about it like they were out drinking last night, or they will not talk about it at all.
Yeah.
I've just the one of the 2 extremes. I've never experienced the in between. Every time I've experienced the in between, it's a liar. Mm-hmm. It's like I killed people in Iraq. It's tough. I think about it a lot. It's kind of fuck you. You're lying. Like, don't give me that shit, because I've only experienced one of the 2 extremes. Either you talk about it 100% like it's nothing, or you do not talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, if it's brought up around you, you shut down.
I know mostly you would think if they killed a lot of people, they usually don't talk about it.
But I knew infantry guys that would talk about it.
Just like nothing.
Nothing.
Dang.
Like nothing.
Yeah.
Because
They're
one
just
guy
desensitized and like
this one guy I knew, he's a country boy, country as fuck. I loved him, but I don't think I could go out drinking with him. He was fucking crazy, and he mowed down a family in a minivan, and they fucked up. Nothing was found in the vehicle after they searched it, but he was a gunner on a Bradley tank. It's a 7.62 round. Pretty much the same size round of an AK with more power behind it.
By 39?
Yeah. Well, it's a lot longer. It's not by 39.
51?
Yeah, it's a longer bullet. But, I forget how many thousands of rounds come out per minute, but it's, he just probably laid like 600 rounds into this van.
Whoa, I want one of those.
and it's all inside the tank. It's all, so you're sitting in your gunner's seat all kicked back, and you have a computer screen that you're dealing with. He's fucking dialed in and fucking just lay down rounds. And so he just mows down this family, and then he hops out of it. He's telling the story, and he's like, do a hop out, and we are assessing the situation, and fucking this guy over here standing outside the tank firing his M16 at the car is like, man, I can't believe I just killed those people. Dude, fuck you. You didn't kill shit. I just dropped 600 rounds into that van.
Oh, he should have just left it on that dude. Like, yeah, man, that's fucked up. When they didn't find anything in the van. Oh, you're so fucked up, man. You just killed that family.
Well, because he was just like, shut up, pussy. You didn't kill shit. You're shooting an M16.
Dang. So they didn't, what was the reasoning for lighting up the van?
We had in Iraq, there's a curfew for civilians. 10 p.m., you're not allowed to be out.
Oh.
And so we'd set up checkpoints at night, and traffic would have to drive through them. And so this van drove up, saw the checkpoint, and then turned around, drove like 100 yards, 20 yards back, and then everybody got out of the van, like having a meeting, and they're just looking at this and just waiting to see what's going to happen. And, we're looking at them through binoculars so we can see what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so then they get back in the van and just start driving.
Towards you?
Towards the checkpoint. Not me. I wasn't there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Towards the checkpoint?
Towards the checkpoint. And it just didn't stop. Faster and faster and faster. And then our rules of engagement were to fire warning shots at the ground, and then slowly, come up.
Yeah.
And then,
so it hits
if they're not stopping for
engine
grounds,
and stuff first, and then...
Exactly.
Dang.
So you start at the ground, work your way up into the motor, and then into the cab.
If they don't stop when they're, front of their cars getting hit, might as well, you got to light them up,
Yeah, and I've been on convoys when, guys would fire warning shots. And fuckers get the hell out of the way real quick.
Especially if they turn around and huddled for a second and then get back in and go back towards the checkpoint. Yeah,
because it's not like home dude just dropped 600 rounds right into the cab. No, he started out at the ground and worked his way up and then dumped 600 rounds into the cab.
That's understandable then.
So they weren't stopping. They fucked up. But nothing was found in the vehicle, so they were totally confused on why they didn't stop.
Yeah.
And when you have a vehicle charging a checkpoint, what are you supposed to do? Just let it hit you?
Yeah. I mean, and if the curfew laws are laid out,
Yeah.
everybody
knows.
Should know, yeah.
So the Iraqi civilians know they're not supposed to be out.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I wouldn't want to live under that kind of rule. You have some other fucking country coming in telling you how to live.
Yeah. That's why they hate us, huh?
It's funny when he said that, though, because I went shooting with my dad over there. I don't know if you've ever been to Hakumba.
Uh-huh. I mean, I know where it's at. I haven't been shooting there, but...
We went out there, and there was this Marine out there. He was a sergeant, and just knew his guns, had a badass collect. Him and his dad were out there shooting. He was probably in his, late 20s, early 30s.
Uh-huh.
And he was real cool, came over, checking out mine and my dad's guns, and he's like, hey, you guys want to shoot some? Just real fucking about guns. I mean, just badass target shooting. And,
you're all, yup.
His dad was like, he's already done 2 tours in Iraq. But then he started just, going off, I was the first confirmed kill in my unit, and I saw what he was talking about. He wasn't bullshitting. He was one of those crazy motherfuckers that so he's just popping off, and I was like, whoa, you're somebody I can never be friends with. But yeah, I mean, I see what he's getting at. Either you're just another day on the job,
yeah,
or you're one of those I'm never going to talk about
it, suppressed, and don't talk about it.
Yeah, some people were made to kill and some weren't.
Man, I know.
I'm not one of those people.
Yeah,
I can tell you right now, I'm not one of those people.
I know. Unless someone broke into your house or something, I could light someone up. But
I know I can kill somebody. I'm just not the type that could handle it very well. It would eat me up.
Yeah. But what if someone's breaking into your house and your kids were there?
No, I could totally kill somebody.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be. It would be hard to deal with later.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I could accept the situation and deal with it because when you have I've had someone at the end of my it's different to go out and shoot and target practice and whatnot, and then fucking point your weapon at somebody ready to pull the trigger.
Yeah,
it's a weird feeling.
Yeah,
and I've done that, but I've never had to shoot anybody. I've never fired a warning shot. I didn't shoot anybody or anything like that. I've just had my barrel pointed at somebody, and it's a weird feeling knowing that you're ready to pull that trigger.
I bet. Makes it real, huh?
Especially when you're locked. When you're locked
some real shit
and pointed at somebody with your hand on your finger on the trigger, ready to pull. It's like shit's about to get real.
Yeah, damn.
Especially for me, I wasn't infantry. I was a supply guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't want to be on the front line. I joined the army to get the hell away from my fucking pothead friends.
Give you some structure. I have a buddy that's from Greece, and I guess, I don't know too much about the military in other countries, but every boy when he's 18 has to go into the military, I think for 2 years or so. But, that's kind of cool for some structure and,
yeah, definitely.
Teach every male in Greece,
See, I've mixed viewpoints on that because I think for me the army was a really good experience.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking hated it. Probably another reason I don't talk about it because I hated it. I didn't like it. I miss it sometimes because it's the only job I had that I was proud of. But other than that, I hated the military life. I don't like being told what to do.
Yeah,
but I think I like the idea of being forced to do that and have that because once being in the army gave me a different sense of pride for the U.S.
Oh yeah.
So I think it'd be really good for a lot of different reasons for at 18 to go into the army and serve 1 to 2 years mandatory.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, I'm also more of a libertarian. I believe in ultimate freedom. And that's not part of that.
True.
Forcing people to do shit they don't want to do.
Yeah.
So I have mixed views on that stuff. But I see a short term in the military as a good experience.
Yeah, just a quick. And sometimes, it gives you a little bit of direction. How many 18-year-olds, especially nowadays, the, generations that are coming up, it's some of them need.
Scary.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't be too against about, probably just because I'm past that age and point. But
you had a different personality. You had drive at a young age. I had no motivation as a teenager. I smoked weed all day, every day, and that's my life revolved around it.
Yeah. And see, I think I'm not against marijuana at all, but I think it as a teenager, I think it can mess up your motivation and 100%. Your direction. But I think if you're, you have a job and you're older and you want to come home and, smoke a little.
Pot now, and he's super motivated. But yeah, as a kid though, that's all you want to do. Because I look at when I smoked pot when I was a teenager, like you said, your life revolved around it. That's all you want to do.
Yeah.
How can I get the next $5 to pick up a small sack?
Well, then I've had this conversation several times with people. I don't believe kids should smoke weed like that because 100% I think it mentally stunts your growth.
Yeah.
Because I have I had friends in high school that smoked weed all the way up until now, and when you talk to them now, it's like they still have that high school mentality. It's like their mental growth was stunted by it, and you need to have sober days.
Do they talk a little bit slower?
No, it's just like a childish mentality. You just haven't grown up yet.
Yeah.
And I've heard doctors talk about it that weed will do that to you. Mentally, it stunts your growth.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. And so then the more reading I did about it, it's like, well, kids should not be fucking with this, not until their brain is fully developed.
Yeah,
your brain's not really fully developed till you're 18 to 20-ish or something like that.
Yeah, it's like when you finish high school, go to college, when you get a career, and if you want to smoke at night, go for it, then that's cool.
So I don't see, but on the flip side, I don't see a problem with experimentation either, because if you do a little bit here and there, it's not going to fuck with you.
Yeah.
But when you're doing it every day and not giving yourself a break, that's when you're running into problems. I mean, same thing with anything, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nobody knows that in high school, though.
Well, no.
You want that scapegoat, and that's the best way to do it, remain high the entire time.
You want that escape.
That's crazy. Yeah, I can. Maybe a couple times I tried in high school and I just got way too paranoid and can't do that.
When was the last time you smoked weed? Yesterday?
No, maybe like a week or two ago.
I smoke weed fairly regularly now that I quit drinking.
Yeah.
But I love it now because fuck, how much more calm am I now?
Yeah.
Dude, what I say, marijuana's, I think alcohol, no offense to the alcoholics, but if you took alcohol out of Lakeside and just gave them all marijuana, I think the domestic violence rate would kind of plummet.
100%.
You're just way more, lovey and just like chill, and alcohol for a lot of people makes them just a little more aggro, and
I'll tell you right now, I would never want to get in a fight while I'm stoned. If you're like, dude, let's just be friends. I don't want to hit. I don't want to get hit in the face. That fucking hurts.
You're chilling with your girl, like, oh babe, I don't want to argue. But yeah, alcohol makes everything way more intense and just a little more violent and aggro. But yeah, I'm for the legalization of marijuana.
Oh yeah, I'm right there with you.
You ever listen to Joe Rogan's comedy?
A little bit.
He had a bit that he did a while ago.
He's for marijuana, right?
Yeah, he's a huge pothead.
Yeah.
Because I listen to his podcast all the time. He's an interesting motherfucker. But he had a bit that he did on one of his specials that was he knows exactly how to fix the Middle East. You just need to go in there and fucking drop care packages of fucking marijuana and mushrooms. He's like, nobody will want to fight anymore.
Yeah, I know. You're just all chill, huh?
Hey, we need to wrap this up. It's almost 2 hours.
Oh, really?
Cool.
Fuck. This is fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, Korey.
All right, guys. Thank you so
ModeCast
much.
out.
Okay.
No.